But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You got to execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win. Welcome back to the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. It is episode 73. It's June 22nd, 2023. We are jumping in right in the middle of week 2 of men's VNL. My name's Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. Everett, congratulations. You can breathe a huge sigh of relief because Canada has defeated fellow challenger team Bulgaria for 3 points. Big sigh of relief.
I'm honestly still riddled with anxiety. I allowed myself to calm down at one point during that match, and that was when we were up 19-16 in the first. And I was just like, okay, good. Like I feel comfortable right now. And then Bulgaria came back to win it, and I was just like, oh, okay. It's going to be one of these matches. It's going to be one of these ones where I don't feel safe throughout the entirety of it. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a massive win for us. Not only did we beat Bulgaria, but we did it in 4. So we got 3 big points. Now we have 5 points. I believe we're sitting in 11th. I know Dave Rogers at the end of that match was just like, yeah, they're safe from relegation. There's no, like, we're not, absolutely not. We're not talking about like that's no, because who knows what could happen, right? Like Bulgaria got their one win by 3-donging Slovenia. So I'm until the last week is done and we are not in 16th place. Is that how many teams there are? 16th place. We are not safe. We are not safe. But that being said, today was a really good match I wouldn't say a really good match. I mean, Amar said it in the interview afterwards that I still think that there's still some things left on the table. You know, there's still that lack of confidence. There's still that lack of identity, a little bit. And Mar talked about it also in the interview afterwards. Like there's still that little bit of personality that's kind of left on the table, but you saw it grow and you saw it build. I thought Mar was very good. Maybe his best game of the tournament so far, all in all. Schwartz came in. I mean, I thought he should have started from the second set, but he came in and did a fantastic job. Curry, I honestly think Curry has been maybe one of the best rookies of all of VNL so far. Like to come in and play as well as he's been phenomenal. And to be honest, my man of the match has to go to Danny Demyanenko. He was absolutely unreal. Was blocking, he was getting aces. His attacking percentage was unreal. I mean, he was 10 for 14, 64% efficiency. He had 15 points on the day. I thought he's been one of our most consistent players throughout the entirety of this VNL, and it really came through today. But we did get slaughtered in the middle.
Destroyed.
Absolutely slaughtered. And I mean, it kind of went both ways. I can only remember like one time, like Gotsev got Demyanenko early in the first set. And that's the only like kind of one-on-one block that we saw throughout the entirety of that match. And that's been kind of a consistent thing for us. And I don't know if it's our blocking strategy. Like to me, watching it has to be something along the lines of coming from the coaches, like we're not commit blocking, right? We're not commit blocking because of the way it is it's all reaction blocking for Canada. Like even after like their middles were absolutely slaughtering us.
Yep. Grozanov 7 for 8, Kolev 4 for 6. Grozanov, unbelievable by the way, just 7 for 8 plus 5 blocks. He was probably Bulgaria's best player, but he was Canada. You're right. No committing ever.
No, never.
Late to jump and react on the middle attack consistently.
Yeah. I thought we served very well. It was very clear that there was one serving instruction is just like serve the crap out of Nikolov, and he crumbled. I think he got aced 5 times.
7
times. That's even worse.
5% perfect, 18% positive, aced 7 times on 22 reception attempts. That is brutal. Good execution of the service strategy by
Yeah.
Canada for sure.
So it was just all in all, I think that's a builder. I think Samuel Vuo did really well to, in our interview after losing to Germany, he kind of said, maybe I should have rested the starters last night against USA, because we looked tired in that match against Germany. And then this time, like, the boys were out there flying. There was a lot of good stuff. There was a lot of hustle, and it was definitely a huge side. Like, as soon as the match ended, I messaged you and was like, I need a few moments. like I need a few moments. My girlfriend got home like it towards the end of the fourth set. And as soon as the match ended, she's like, I don't think I've seen you breathe yet. And I was like, that is pretty accurate. So yeah, all in all, very happy with this result. 3 big points, putting us into 11th, really puts us in a good position not to get relegated, and we can kind of continue to work on some things. But yeah, that's
Yep. Take a good deep breath there,
well,
buddy.
I'm gonna be doing those for the rest of the day. For like, I need to go for a run or something later, get a workout in, something a little bit physical, just so I'm not as like
Wired.
just
wound up.
just not as wound up. So yeah, it was as I said, all in all, good match from us. Not our best. I don't think we've seen as close to our best so far, but still a lot of good things that we can build upon.
Yep. I've got a couple takes from this game. Number one is that Arthur Schwartz needs to be Canada's starting opposite for the rest of the tournament.
100%.
Without question, he was your best offensive player overall, even once he came off the bench. 12 for 19, 42% efficiency, plus 2 aces. I thought he was an absolute X factor. Completely agree. It was Stephen Marr's best game of the tournament. He put the team on his back, got a really clutch insurance ace late, plus that unreal, like, out of system pipe rip against 3 guys to kind of put that fourth set away. That was incredibly clutch. I think Landon Curry, like you said, has been amazing. Maybe Canada's best overall player through 7 matches.
I don't disagree with that. To me, it's between him and Demyanenko. I think Demyanenko has been very consistent, but like, I mean, Clayton and Dave Rogers are making comparisons to Shoji, to like Curry to Shoji, which I don't think is necessarily out of pocket. I do think
that's not totally crazy. I mean, that
no, it's not.
There's a world of difference there. Curry's a rookie. I do think their play styles are kind of similar. I know that I talked to Landon Curry in Ottawa after the Germany game when we were there last weekend, and you
were gushing over him.
I was. I love the kid, but Curry said that he absolutely idolizes Eric Shoji, and he has modeled a lot of his game after him. And I can see just the way he carries himself, the energy there. I can kind of see that similarity. So nice guy to be compared to. I agree. Demyanenko is awesome. I would like to see Piersashenko be a lot more impactful. I thought that he got torn apart by Grozdanov for sure, but
offensively he wasn't bad. Right, especially early on, like, it was very clear to me that one of the instructions from Samuel Vuo was good pass. We set the middle.
Yep.
I mean, we set the middle like 3 times in the first 5 points of the match, and it was literally what it was. It was good pass. Each teams were setting the middle, and both were pretty much were banging. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more from Mashenko, especially in the block.
Definitely.
Did he have any blocks?
Zero.
No.
0 blocks.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to bring up is that, like you said, the only part of this match where you initially felt comfortable was up 19-16 in the first, and then that lead slipped away. That happened in all 4 sets. Canada had a lead of 3 or 4, maybe even 5 points. I was just looking at it. I think they led 17-12 in the third. Yeah, 17-12 in the third, but those leads were never safe. Instead of taking those mid-set advantages and keeping their foot on the gas and pushing to the finish line, it was the opposite. Canada let Bulgaria back in the game in every set, although they were able to turn it around and be the clutch team there in the fourth to seal the 3-point win. But I'm obviously rooting for Canada. I've been on record. They're my second favorite national team in the world. I'm stoked that you guys got this win. And I as like even a sort of a poser Canada fan, I was losing my mind every time they got a lead and it started to slip away. I can't even imagine how actual Canadians were feeling about this. So that I think, obviously great win. The 3 points is huge, but there were moments there when I bet you and the rest of the fan base were tearing your hair out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was definitely tearing my hair out more than a few times. It was touch and go there at a few moments, right? Especially towards the end of that fourth set. I really didn't want it to go five.
No,
I
that would have
don't
been
I
bad.
my
That would
my
have been bad.
nerves could not have handled it going five. I will definitely say that much. Like I might not be around for this show if it went five. Let me just say that. It was nerve-wracking, and yeah, it was a lot to handle. But hey, we got the job done. Honestly, like getting knocked out of Nations League would be really bad, but it'd be doubly bad because we wouldn't have nation. Oh, I know. Never mind. That's not true. I was gonna say we weren't gonna have Nations League in Ottawa next year because it's a 3-year contract, but the women are gonna be in regardless. So they did tell us that if the men got knocked out, then we'd be hosting the women next year in Ottawa. So
Well,
um,
I want to see the men in Ottawa again. It looks like that for now, Canada has put themselves in good enough position through 7 matches to survive. So that's good news. I do want to talk about Bulgaria for a split second here.
mhm.
They honestly, I didn't think Bulgaria was that bad. They did serve the ball really poorly, 4 aces to 20 errors.
Mhm.
20 errors is way too many. And Nikolov got absolutely served off the court. That I didn't. I mean, we've watched him a lot. We saw him last year in VNL. We saw him this year at Lube. I guess I didn't really truly appreciate just how much of a passing liability he actually is
Oh,
until today. I honestly, for some reason, it just didn't quite get through to me how bad he actually is in reception until today. It is a problem, this kid, for as much potential as he has, for as amazing of an arm and amazing as of an offensive talent as he is, his reception is a big problem, and it's gotta get fixed. For some reason I didn't really appreciate that until watching this match today. But I mean,
yeah.
Bulgaria was great in the middle, like we said. Everywhere else, just not so good. Dimitrov, they're starting opposite, 0% efficiency. Atanasov is okay, but like they need to be better than just chucking high balls to Nikolov, and they need to figure out how Nikolov cannot be a complete black hole in reception if they're going to have a chance not to get relegated.
Yeah, it's really gonna come down to me. Like right now, you're allowed to give him that grace because he is so young that hey, like serve receive is gonna come, that reception is going to come. But at what point does it start affecting his actual playing time? Right? Because he's not a right side player. Um and he can't pass enough. Like he can't pass enough to be like he's the perfect prototype to be the next Matej Kaczynski in so many ways. But he just can't pass the ball. And that's a huge issue. How long does Lube run that leash with them? How long does Bulgaria run that leash with them? I think the Bulgarian leash is much longer than the
Yeah, definitely.
Lube leash, just because they have no one else. I thought they probably should have gone to Asparuhov earlier. He was 6 for 6, right? He
Yeah,
he was he was automatic.
out of
Um,
position as well. He came in at opposite and was outstanding.
yeah,
Just
hundred
given a
percent.
different
So
look.
maybe that's a scenario where Bulgaria, like if Dimitrov's going to be that bad, maybe that's a scenario where Bulgaria needs to look at having Asparuhov and Antonov on the left and putting Nikolov on the right.
And I think
And
they have played around with that a little bit. I think I can't remember if they've truly lined up Nikolov at opposite against Brazil the other day, or if he just like spent a lot of time hitting some right side balls. But regardless, that's going to be something they've got to fix. They've got to figure that out. They've got to fix it, and the clock is definitely ticking for Bulgaria now because I mean, really in the same vein as Canada, every match of challenger versus challenger is a big deal. And Bulgaria also has 5 points right now. They're clear of Cuba and China for the moment, but this would have been nice for Bulgaria if they're trying to stay in VNL. Obviously, didn't get it done. I like Alex Nikolov. I have faith in him. I just couldn't really believe just how bad he is in reception. He's terrible.
yeah, it was. I mean, he was getting, and Luke Herr, I mean, sorry, bud, I love you, but it's bad when like Luke Herr is making you pass poorly. Like his serve is a bit of a lollipop. Not as bad as that one standing float serve that Brett Walsh hit when
Yeah,
he
what
came
was
in, and
that?
I think he was trying to, because like the minute the whistle went, he served that ball, but it needed to be like, to me, he needed to hit that a little bit shorter. You know, if you're going to try to catch them off guard, if you're going to try to catch the pass,
this isn't the 1980s. I don't know what we're doing
yeah,
with that.
it was bad. Like a little bit closer. I think he was like going to go through his process, saw that they weren't ready, you know, went to go hit the ball, and yeah, but yeah, it was.
Congratulations, buddy. I'm very happy for you.
Thank God. Yeah. So, all right. Well, moving on from this one, Rob, how do you want to do this? Do you want to start at the beginning of the week, or do you want to start on what was today?
I think let's go back to the beginning of the week. Let's go back to the beginning of the week, and we can get up to the. I mean,
real quick though, I am looking at Bulgaria's schedule just to touch on this one last time. They do not have an easy time of things moving forward. Argentina and Cuba to close out this week. That Cuban match, like, is possibly their most important match. The rest, right? Because you have Argentina,
Cuba, they do play Cuba, huh?
And then the last week you have Germany, who are starting to look a little bit better. Iran, Serbia, and USA. So that is not a favorable schedule for Bulgaria moving forward. And remember, they've lost to China already. Right. Now they've lost to Canada. If they lose to Cuba, they're out, in my opinion.
Maybe. I mean, they've already got 5 points. Like that win over Slovenia was truly a miracle. And like China right now at 2, I don't know if I see China getting at least 3 more points unless they beat Canada in match number 12 somehow. But we'll look at the standings in a bit and put the relegation picture in perspective. But yeah, Bulgaria, not safe by any means. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so let's go back all the way to the beginning of the week and look back from Tuesday morning all the way up through now. We'll go through all the matches. So at like 6 a.m. my time on Tuesday, we saw Iran 3-dong Germany, and we saw Canada lose in 4 to a very good Japanese team. Japan, who I think is still undefeated.
They are.
We'll talk about their insane win over Brazil from this morning. But anything about Iran, Germany, and Japan, Canada? I mean, these were way before I was awake. I didn't know anything about the Iran game. But what were your takes on Canada's loss to Japan?
It was hit and miss with me. There was times where we looked absolutely terrible. And I mean, I think right now, especially, it's a little frustrating because there was a time when if we came up against if we came up against Japan, China, Korea, it didn't really matter. I knew we were going to get a win. And now it's to the point where, like, I think Japan is really, really good.
Japan's good.
Their level of skill is like we do very, very poorly against skilled teams. And they ate us apart. Nishida had another fantastic serving performance against us. And there was times when, you know, we did win that third set, and that was good. But they kind of blew us out of the water in that one. So it was a little hit and miss for me. I would have liked to see a little bit more fight. And that's kind of one of the things that I liked about us today is that, like, when it wasn't going our way, we still kind of fought back. But yeah, there was definitely some things left on the table, and we made it easy for Japan a lot. I'm just pulling up the stats right now.
I've got Ishikawa, absolutely insane, 57% efficiency and 23 points.
Yeah, he was absolutely mental, and you can see Sakita is just like spreading that offense. You got 4 different guys in double digits. And in only 4 sets, so that was really good. And for us, I mean, I thought we struggled. You know, once again, we started Sclater. He struggled. Only 3 points. Started both the first and the second. Only 0% efficiency. 3 for 10. That's really, really not good.
Yeah, I think that question at opposite is answered.
It has to be now. It has to be for me. And the reality too is that, like, I still think that there's a little bit more room in the ceiling for Arthur Schwartz.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Because, like, he's not used to playing full-time minutes on the right side, especially for Canada. Like, he's done it way more in the Italian league than he has with the national team. So I think that there's a little bit more room there. But yeah, just a lot missing from that. Another guy that I haven't been too stoked with has been Nick Hogue. There's been times of greatness and other times of, like, what's going on, Nick? I really think that we wouldn't be, like, if Riley Barnes or Eric Lepke were here, we wouldn't be seeing Nick Hogue nearly as much.
I agree with that. We definitely noticed the absence of both Barnes and Lepke. And people in the chat are correct to point out that Japan in the middle has improved a lot. Onodera 9 for 11, 3 blocks. And then Yamauchi, okay, not quite as good, but Japan is better in the middle. We used to clown on them a lot about being invisible in the middle and having that be a gigantic weakness, and it's not nearly the weakness that it used to be. And I think they deserve a lot of credit in the middle for helping elevate their team's overall level. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about Japan a little bit later. But anything else about Canada?
No, not from this match. I mean, I think it was, we knew what was going to happen. Obviously, I got up to watch this match, and I mean, even taking a set to me, I was pretty happy with. But yeah. Also, real quick, guys, Lepke will not be here for VNL. He
Right.
will not be available for VNL. I see that question coming up in the chat.
Yep, hopefully for Olympic qualifiers. And this, I mean, Canada, we knew that we talked about on Monday's show. What was Canada going to do strategically, playing 3 matches in 3 days and having having Bulgaria today being by far the most important match of the tournament so far. And we saw Canada play the starters against Japan, play the bench against Slovenia to prepare for Bulgaria. And you guys did get the win against Bulgaria, but when we talk about the Slovenia game, we can analyze that strategy maybe a little bit more. Iran versus Germany from Tuesday. I don't really have any takes on this.
I didn't watch it. So
I didn't watch it either. I did hear that Germany blew it pretty hard in the first 2 sets. They had chances to win both. And then Germany got dusted in the third. So good for Iran, I guess. Sharifi, 10 for 14, no errors, 71% efficiency. That's pretty insane for that little fireball of the left side that Iran has. But got no takes past that. You get to move on. In the second round there, Slovenia beat Argentina in 4, and my United States beat Serbia in 4.
Yeah, which one do you want to? Obviously, we want to talk about the USA match, so let's chat about that one.
Let's do it.
Go ahead. You take the lead on this.
I would love to. So just kind of as I expected on Monday, the U.S. was going to play the starters against Serbia and then the bench against China the next day, and I was hoping that we could get out of those 2 matches with 6 points, and we did. So I was happy about this. I did the quick little video on Instagram breaking down my quick reactions. But the thing that I liked about us in the Serbia match is that we put a ton of pressure on Serbia's outside hitters. So we saw Ivovic, Kujundžić, and Peric kind of interchangeably, and combined, those 3 guys hit 0% efficiency. So I really like the pressure we put on them. We had, let's see, our serving 6 aces to 17 errors is okay. 17 errors in 4 sets is honestly not terrible, and 6 aces is a number that I can live with. So I was happy about that. Serbia gave away way too many points for free, missing a bunch of float serves, which had we not been playing them and appreciating those free points, I would have been losing my mind, because you know how much I hate missing float serves. But I liked the pressure we put on their outsides. I liked the way that we were able to beat them in transition, both on offense and defense. And there were some things about our transition offense that I didn't love. I think there are some things that can get better in that area for the U.S. But overall, against a team that is pretty physical and has offensive guys that can occasionally go off for huge runs, I thought we did a pretty good job of slowing Serbia down. Luberic was good, 16 for 37. But other than that, like I said, Serbia's outsides were really bad. And statistically for us, let's see, Aaron Russell was our best player, 13 for 26. 46% efficiency. That's amazing. And Jeff Jendrick as well had a really good game. So
yeah, Jendrick was a monster.
Yep. 10 for 13, no errors.
So he was fantastic. 77% efficiency. That's pretty gross. You guys were just way more efficient than Serbia in this match, and realistically, I'm not that surprised.
Me neither. We got to remember Serbia's got a brand new setter and a brand new libero, and I think that's kind of showing up. That matchup against a team like the U.S., who's similarly physical but way more skilled and detail oriented, I think we're good in taking advantage of things like that.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that Serbia brought Antanasijevic if they're not going to play him. Why not?
Yeah, we haven't seen them all through 2 matches, right?
Why not bring one of your younger guys? Where's Meljanats? Where's one of these other guys?
Aquaman. Yeah, we miss him. Yeah, so Serbia, I mean, they were just bad on the outside for some particular reason, but I was happy with the U.S. performance in this one. Like, dropping a set to Serbia is no big deal. We won the 3 sets that we won pretty comfortably, so all good for me. And in my opinion, we did though see Argentina kind of lay a bit of an egg against Slovenia, which I was a little surprised by.
Did they though? I think that, like, Argentina without the Checo is a much different team, right? Like that's the thing is that like I've said it a few times. I wish they didn't have to Checo in the first one. Yeah, like I definitely wish that they didn't have to Checo, because when you add the Checo into the mix, like Argentina is a top level player, or sorry, a top level team. But without him, I think they're just middle of the pack. And I think on any given day, this result can kind of go either way between Argentina and Slovenia.
Yeah, so Slovenia was good. They played the starters. They looked really good. Rock Mozic was unbelievable. 16 for 28, 54% efficiency. That is a monstrous performance. And it is cool. They're running sort of a 3 outside hitter thing, because Mozic is lined up at outside hitter. Chabul is lined up across from the setter. And they're moving both of those guys around in their back row attack spots. And I think that's cool. I like the way Slovenia is doing that. Argentina's problem, honestly, wasn't offense. I thought they were just fine on offense, 34% efficiency as a team. It was serving. 2 aces, 22 service errors. That is bad. Like 4 thumbs down bad from the service line. So that clearly not good enough. And then Sanchez is a gigantic blocking liability. We know that. He's tiny. He's a brilliant setter, but is a huge blocking liability. So that's something that Slovenia was able to take advantage of. And there's not that much more to say about it, really, except that I do love Agustin Loser so much. That
guy is absolutely
awesome.
I think Slovenia is a perfect team to kind of take advantage of a team like Argentina when they don't have to Checo, especially with Sanchez. Like if you have Mozic or Chabul or Earnout, any of those guys on the left side swinging over Sanchez,
straight over Sanchez, it's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? So. Once again, I think that this is a result that you could play this game 10 times and it would be 5-5.
Like I kind of agree.
Those results would be 5-5 without the Checo. If you have the Checo, then that changes probably 8-2 in Argentina's favor.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll talk about Argentina's rebound against France in just a little bit, but that was a good win for Slovenia. I was impressed. Then we don't really have to talk that much. Netherlands 3-0 China, Brazil 3-0 Bulgaria. Enough said.
Yeah, that is what it is. It is what it is.
Let's move on to yesterday's games. Wednesday morning kicked off. We saw the return of most of the Italian world champions. They 3-donged Iran, no problem, 19-16 and then 26-24. Let's see, who was good statistically? Obviously, I didn't watch this game. Not much to really talk about. Micheletto out, 12 for 22, no errors. Nice. Welcome back.
Beauty. Love to see it. And I mean, that's exactly what we were expecting from Italy too. Right. That's why I was never worried about them. Like I am a little bit worried about France, and we can talk about them a little bit later. They after 5 matches, they only have 1 win, but Italy, like you're expecting them to get these types of results, especially against Iran. And even though they don't have all their guys, they're still there and ready to go.
Yep. Iran, 19% efficiency attacking as a team. Not very good. So good for Italy there. Japan 3-donged Cuba. Also yesterday morning, 21-16, 21, not particularly close. Japan looks awesome, even though Yuji Nishida wasn't very good. 0% efficiency. Again, Japan was good in the middle. Look at this. Onodera 7 for 7, Yamauchi 8 for 11. That's amazing contribution from your 2 middles. Plus Takahashi and Ishikawa both really good. We saw one of my favorite highlights of this VNL so far. We saw the evolution of the pipe option ball in a play did you see this play? Takahashi out of the back row came to like do the flying jump out of the pipe set thing, but he kind of misjudged where he was, ended up bump setting a ball to Nishida out of the pipe. Was very weird, very funny. Did its rounds on Instagram. But there's not that much really to say about this game. Cuba, pretty
30
bad.
errors. 30 errors in 3 sets.
21 service errors in 3 sets. Just unacceptable. What is up with that?
Cuba is, I mean, Cuba, it's so weird. It's really so weird about how they can just be 2 different teams, right? We saw such a good Cuba against Brazil in their last match in Canada. They were so good. They fought with Brazil tooth and nail. And I mean, Brazil is missing some players, and they were then even more so without Lucas. But man, this Cuban team is really struggling. And I do think that they're maybe on the bubble to getting relegated. Do they play? My big question is, does Cuba play No, China and Cuba do not play each other. I think that's their one saving grace. If Cuba and China played each other, I think that would definitely be an interesting one.
Cuba does
Because
play Bulgaria on Sunday. But that honestly might be their best chance for the next time they'll be favored the rest of the tournament, really. Because then they've got the U.S., Serbia, Germany, and Iran week 4. I don't know. They've got to beat Bulgaria. They've got to figure it out. I mean, they do have we think they have a lame duck coach because they're not able to actually pull the trigger on firing a coach in the middle of VNL. But from everything we're hearing, Vives is just biding his time before he gets fired at the end of this tournament. I have something that I heard, Everett, about Cuba that about made me fall out of my chair. After this week, because Cuba's playing in Orléans right now, then they're going to Anaheim for week 3 in California.
yes,
In between that, they've got the week off. They've got like 8 days off.
yes,
They're flying to El Salvador to play a stupid Caribbean tournament, Central American tournament with their A team. They're bringing their A team to El Salvador in between 2 weeks of VNL, and they're playing the starters there, and then sending them up to California to play another week of VNL. Is that not the most insane thing you've ever heard?
Well, I don't think Cuba has a B team.
They have
Right?
junior teams. They just won like the Pan Am whatever at home with a U19 team. Send them to El Salvador. You've got a team trying not to get relegated from VNL. You think it's worth their time to go play a Central American tournament in the middle of Nations League?
I mean, I wonder if it's something to do with like the Cuban government being like, no, this is you have to send the guys, like,
just
Again,
impossibly irresponsible by their volleyball federation. It's insane to me that they get away with this stuff. Enough about Cuba, though. The second round on Wednesday, the USA 3-dong China. That was pretty much no problem. We played almost the entire bench. Thomas Jeschke's back. He looked really good. We kind of used Micah Christensen and Matt Anderson as sort of like a closing pitcher to come in late in sets and push us over the finish line. That actually kind of worked. I did like that. Also, Jake Haynes had a decent game. So great. We should always 3-dong China, whatever. I do want to hear, Everett, about your takes on the Canadian B team against Slovenia. You did get 3-donged. There were moments, especially in the first set, that some decent volleyball was being played, but that third set was ugly. It was
the third set was ugly, but like, I mean, you've got most of the time we had more than 50% of the guys on the court were playing at McMaster earlier this year at the U Sports National Championships, right? You've got Matthias Elser, who I thought was fantastic for the first set and a half. In the first set, he was definitely our best player on the court. He was making digs, he was passing well, he was getting kills. I thought it was a great move. You got some guys out there. Hofer started real weak, especially in serve receive. There was one serve that served him, and he's there. He was ready, and it's just like bounced off his arms and went sideways. But I think that there was a lot of value gained. Like how many of those like Landon Curry, Justin Louis, Brody Hofer, Matthias Eller, Cooper. I mean, even Luke Kerr is still technically a rookie, right? He played a few international tournaments, like a couple international tournaments with the B team last year, and then all of a sudden he's starting with the A team. So there's a lot to work through, right? Especially being down 12-6 in the first and fighting back. And reality, like we should have had set point in the first. Like I don't know what the hell has been going on with the reffing so far.
Oh man, yeah.
Yuri Ramirez as an absolute joke. I'm not even gonna go on to it. He's been this bad for a decade plus, but he's from the Dominican Republic, so he's always gonna be put in there. But you can't basically Slovenia wanted to challenge a point, and it did touch the antenna, but they didn't call it. They made the challenge for like earlier in the rally after the play was done, which should not be allowed. Right. It should not be allowed. And the same thing happened a little bit later. And Slovenia made the same argument. And thank God, like if Ramirez had let that, hadn't let the challenge go for Canada, and it was like literally the same thing, like antenna touch, it would have been easy. But yeah, there's a chance for us to win that first set. So I'm really happy actually with what I saw. But towards the end, you just kind of got that sense that like Slovenia had their guys on, that they didn't go to the bench. Like they went for their guys, and you could kind of tell that they were just like, hey, no, like we're not playing this game anymore. And that's when we saw kind of Justin Louis came in. I was a little disappointed in Louis coming in. I've been a huge supporter of his for a long time now, but it's getting more and more clear to me that he's not it. And he's not going to be the guy. I know he's going to be going to play professionally, so maybe that will help him get some stuff in it. But right now, this is like solely Curry's job. But yeah, like especially when you consider that Matthias Elser was playing in U Sports as a setter, and other than last year with the B team, has never played starting minutes as a left side ever. Like not in club, not in high school, not ever. Like that's pretty damn impressive. So there was a lot of good things from that Slovenia game. I think it was just that last set that finally Slovenia was just like, okay, no, like we need to turn on the jets, and the kids that we had in the court just didn't have the jets to put on with them.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, keep the big picture in mind. We knew that the Bulgaria match today was the most important thing. We knew that by far. We knew that Samelvo was going to have to rest the starters in one of the two early matches this week, and I agree with the way that he managed it for the most part. I think you could have maybe argued that he should have played the bench against Japan instead of Slovenia, because I think that Slovenia with the starters might be a better matchup and maybe a little bit more winnable, but it didn't matter. You beat Bulgaria. That's the most important thing.
I think in his mind, it was like, I'd rather have my starters fresh
for a full day of rest,
a full day of rest. They didn't play it. Like they didn't come in at all. They weren't there to bail them out. And I think that with the style of play Japan brings, it would have been really ugly with our young guys. It would have been really ugly with our young guys.
That's a good point.
Because if you got Nishida and Ishikawa serving the way they do at Brody and Elser, like that would not have been pretty. So yeah, I was questioning it a little bit, but now in retrospect, hindsight's 2020. I definitely agree with the way things went down. So pretty happy with the result overall. I think it gave us a great opportunity to get some young guns out there and get a shot. Because remember, as we said, if this team was as it should be, without the injuries, without Eric Leckie, and without Riley Barnes, you'd have maybe one of those guys on the roster.
That's true. Yep.
Right?
That is true. So yeah, that's enough about that. Let's move on. I think the two most important matches, like not involving either of our teams this VNL so far, were both yesterday afternoon. Poland somehow survived Germany in 5 in a match that just wasn't very good for either team. Bro, and then Argentina. I'm really excited to talk about Argentina versus France, because that match had a little bit of everything, including a whole lot of fiascos surrounding officiating. But I think we should talk about Germany versus Poland first. Poland looked terrible for some stretches of that game.
Yes,
really Poland, bad, especially the 4th set. But they did figure it out.
They look discombobulated, right? And I don't know what it was. I mainly want to bring up Leon had one of the funniest aces I've ever seen, either the first or second. He served the ball right at Ruben's shot, and I don't know what shot was doing, but he looked to I forget who. I think it was either Kelly Baird or Gran and Barrow. Looked to him and then hit him in the knee. Like I thought he shanked it, but it hit him in the knee, and I was like, "How are you expecting anyone else to get this ball? It literally just hit you in the knee. Like what are you doing at their shot?" But I mean, other than against us, Germany has been one of the most unclutched teams. They really have. I mean, realistically, on paper, this should be a 3-dong, right? Germany should not be with Poland. But Poland looked really bad, only 29% efficiency, serving 6 aces to 21 errors.
That honestly, for a 5-setter is not terrible. It's not great, but 2 aces to 16 errors for Germany is worse.
Yeah. Oh,
here's the thing. Look at Germany's outside hitters. Ruben Schott, 3 for 9, 4 errors, negative efficiency. Tobias Brand, 1 for 8, 2 errors, negative efficiency. Moritz Reichert, 3 for 10, 4 errors, negative efficiency. All 3 of Germany's outside hitters hit deep into the negatives, with the exception of Eric Rohrs, who is really good off the bench. and Poland still needed 5 sets. I think that's the takeaway here. Germany looked terrible for most of this game. Linus Weber off the bench was really good. Jan Buma got the start, wasn't all that good. Poland needed 5 sets with Leon and Kurek to beat this bad German team. What is up with that?
I don't know, maybe they're just working into things. I mean, they did have Lomac setting them, so like
who looked dreadful. Womack had one of the worst setting performances of the tournament.
Just
Terrible.
send him home. Bring Jan
here.
Furle. I know Janusz is tired, but still, like, there's, I mean, we didn't even see Kokonowski until late in this one, but. I'm really hoping Poland is just looking internally and like working on their own things right now, especially now that they've got their guys and they don't have the most of them anyways. But they're definitely not giving me any confidence because I did pick them at the beginning of this to win Nations League, and they're not giving me any confidence whatsoever in the pick.
No,
none whatsoever.
None. I mean, their B team week 1 did not look particularly good. Now they have this weird hybrid team. Like, if you're going to bring Kurek and Leon, don't you think you might as well also bring your starting setter? Like, what? Maybe Janusz is a little banged up. Like, Janusz, Śliwka, Kaczmarek, they played deep Champions League runs. But unless Janusz is hurt, shouldn't you pair your 2 most important offensive players in Kurek and Leon with your starting setter? Also, Bednor's pretty good, but we didn't see Fornal at all when that was really the guy that Poland actually needed to win this match. We saw him very briefly in the 4th set. I really don't. I'm confused at what Poland is trying to accomplish right now. What are they trying to accomplish? What are they trying to learn about themselves? What value are they getting out of these particular lineup combinations? I don't really see it.
Yeah, I don't really know. I really don't know. It's Poland is a huge question mark to me right now. They really, really are, because this one should have been. They should have just taken care of business, and they didn't. I didn't watch this game. I didn't watch this game enough. In between going back to the France and Argentina game and getting ready for work and like leaving for work and stuff like that. They really need to figure some things out, because like if any country has a lot of pressure on them, it's Poland.
They always do. And we've seen recently how they react to pressure. It hasn't always been so good. And they do have the Netherlands later today, actually in only about half an hour. That game starts decently soon. So try to get out of here on the show before that match happens. I am very interested to see that. Poland, a lot of pressure, was not a convincing game against Germany. But I really do want to talk about Argentina versus France. This was spicy. So as far as I heard, the entire challenge system went down early in the 1st set. The entire challenge system. So that means none of the instant in-out review, no challenging for block touches, nothing. And I talked to Luciano Polonsky after the game yesterday. I asked him what the hell happened, and he was brilliant, by the way. Got to give Polonsky a ton of credit. He said that apparently the excuse was that the Wi-Fi in the building went down. And so they had no challenge system for the entire match, and that left only 2 officials with no line judges, completely out on an island. And I felt bad for the officials here. Like
that's a tough spot.
It's
as
a
an
tough spot. They got completely left on an island with no line judges and no challenge system, and they were just guessing out there. The refs were guessing on in-out calls. They were guessing on block touch calls. They were getting berated by both teams. Red cards were given out. It was really something else. And I thought that Argentina was the one who got the shorter end of the stick for the most part in all those refereeing situations. But to Argentina's great credit, they won this match and they looked good. Agustin Loser, 11 for 15, 5 stuff blocks, was by far the best player on the court for either team. And Luciano Polonsky was similarly great, 13 for 28, 16 points, and 3 aces. I thought Argentina with a huge rebound. And France is like 1-5?
1-4, I think.
Oh,
well, yeah, 1-4. France is not looking good so far, and I know they brought their B guys to week number 1, but they're at home, and they don't really have their guys right now. And this is starting to me. And I mean, like overall, like really worry about France, but they're currently sitting in 14th. So they're 1-3. Which how?
No,
Oh yeah,
they've got to be 1-4. I think
yeah.
they only beat China in week 1, and they've lost to everybody else. Not good.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. They've the standings I'm looking at doesn't show their overall record. It just says one match and point. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, France is 1-4. They have 5 points right now. And they've lost all of their matches. Sorry, no, they only have 3 points. They lost all of their matches 3-1. The ones that they've lost. And other than that, they beat China. Like that's a bad spot for them to be in. Obviously, they're not going to get relegated because they're a core team. But for a long time, we've been saying that this French, the benefits of this French program was their depth. And right now, we're just not seeing it, right? Which is so weird because, like, in this one, like, you still have Tilly, you still have Boyer, you still have Brizal, like, Timothy Carl didn't really play in this one, but he's still been fantastic for a little while. Who did they have on the left side?
Luati. It was Tilly and Luati, and then Cleveno came in.
Luati was actually 7 for 16.
That's
and
okay.
He did pass very, very well, 60% positive, and 36% perfect. Like that is very, very good. They're passing from Luati, and France in general passed super well, 56% positive, 41% perfect. Which it astounds me that they lost this match without those kind of passing numbers.
Yeah, so that wasn't the issue. I think that the two issues for France, one was the middle. They got torn apart in the middle. Chinanyeze and Bultor were clueless to stop Loser, and Zerba was decent for Argentina as well. But then, like you just said, serving. 2 aces, 21 errors for France is just terrible. That's like USA men 2021 Olympics level bad, and that's
always your bar. Eh? That's always like where you judge
that's bad.
is USA Tokyo Olympics. That's always where you're gonna put it on.
Yeah, if you're getting talked about in that conversation as far as serving goes, that is terrible. So yeah, not good for France at home. I agree with you. Their position in looking to try and make the playoffs isn't even looking so good, and they won the entire VNL last year, so not great. I do think Argentina deserves a lot of credit here. I thought Polonsky was awesome. He made one play in transition, I think in the third or fourth set, I can't remember which, but he got set a ball where he had just come off the triple block. He was in the middle of the court. The footwork that he displayed to even get behind this ball and take a swing on it in transition was just electric. I loved his game. I liked Santiago Dinani, who was an absolute fireball with all the officiating nonsense. It was really just a really, really fun match because it was so weird. Go back and watch it. Go back and watch the whole thing and see all the people yelling at the officials. I really did feel bad for the officials, but volleyball world, figure it out. Why have we had all of these like colossal significant refereeing situations? Like we had one on the women's side where, like, I think it was Poland versus the Netherlands, a set was deemed to be over when the score was actually 24-21. Like we had all the stupid problems in Ottawa with the challenges. We had the rogue buzzers from the serving clock. We have the entire challenge system dying here in week 2. Like, what are we doing? Figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the challenge clock in week 1, Japan actually just like turned off the buzzer altogether.
We're not going to do this.
They're like, we're not going to do this. To me, it's like, how is the challenge system not on a wired system? And I like, why are we relying on like, I really hope they're not relying on like venue, let's just sign on to like, like the venue internet that everyone else can access, like just open internet. Like, no, like Bolt 6, you guys need to be better at that. Like a wired connection needs to be happening.
Yeah. Let's figure it out.
So it's continuing to just be a bit of a clown show, not to mention the fact that like the in-out replays that we're getting on screen for the broadcast and like in-house are different than the replays, and they're on a completely different system than the replays the referees are getting. So multiple times, like we've seen it where, I mean, it's happened to Canada, it's happened to USA, where the ball will be called out by the referee and then they'll show the replay and it'll be in.
Yeah, that
So,
was a big mess. I was just telling my buddy last night the story about Sparral losing his mind in the Brazil game when that ball was clearly in, and nobody wanted to admit the mistake. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been a bad look so far this VNL for the challenge system and just for officiating as a whole. It's not been good. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. All right, let's catch up on the rest of the matches today and then preview the rest of the week. We got like 20 more minutes until the Netherlands versus Poland starts this afternoon. This morning, Italy 3-dong China. Shocker. 13-19 and then 26-24. There's not really that much to talk about here. I'm going to go see if there are any notable stat lines really quick. Simone Anzani, 8 for 9. Yuri Romano, 8 for 14. Tommaso Rinaldi played a little bit. Yeah, whatever. I mean, Italy is way better than China. I think we can probably move on from that. But I do think we should talk about this. Japan beats Brazil. Finally, we've been wondering, when is Japan going to punch above their weight class and beat a team that is ranked above them? We were hearing that this is Japan's first win over Brazil in 30 years.
That's crazy to me.
30 years.
That's crazy to me, because these are two teams, like if there's any teams that have at all like World Cups, World Leagues, World Championships, like those are going to be really only the FIVB events that they play at each other, or Olympics too. And Japan has never been able to like Canada has like 2 or 3 wins against Brazil in the past decade. Hell, we were beating Brazil back when we were ranked like 20th back in 2012. Like this, like that is absolutely insane to me. I will say, like, I watched this match intermittently. Like it was on at 7 a.m. here this morning. I finished work at midnight last night, so there wasn't a lot of time to check to sleep in between. So I was watching it kind of in bed. I was like kind of dozing in and off. But man, I mean, I think part of it is that Brazil isn't Brazil right now. Like they have a massive load on Lucarelli. They had Roque in there on the right side. They had Alan. They still can't figure it out. Like they started with Bruno, but Cachopa was coming in. He ended up finishing the match. There is a lot going on there, but altogether, Japan looked fantastic, and they did it without Nishida.
Without Nishida,
without Nishida is a big part. I think Ishikawa, to me, man, Ishikawa has really been on a redemption run in my eyes over the past few months. Like the way that he played for Milano at the end of the year, the way he's been playing for Japan, he's just been phenomenal. And this may have been Ran Takahashi's best match, not only in this VNL, but ever in a Japanese
19
uniform.
for 31 with 1 error, 58% efficiency. That is unbelievable. And Ishikawa not far behind him, 25 for 43, 51%. And yeah, we got to give Kento Miyaura a ton of credit. 22 for 37 off like as the starting opposite. I mean, he played in Poland this year. Like he's no joke. He's a very, very capable backup opposite. But that is a program defining win for Japan over one of the great all-time teams in volleyball history, like beating Brazil. There are people talking in the chat, oh yeah, beating Brazil this year maybe isn't that big of a deal. Maybe not, but if you're Japan, you should really be celebrating this. This win is a big deal. That is massive. They are still the only undefeated team in the VNL. They got it done in thrilling fashion. They went up 2-0. Brazil pushed it to a 5th. I mean, with those performances from the wings, this is amazing. Amazingly impressive for Japan.
I don't know if I've ever seen a stat sheet where you have 3 players above 20, right? 27 for Ishikawa, 24 for Miura, and 21 for Takahashi. Like that's absolutely phenomenal. 43% efficiency for Japan in this. Just honestly, just a big win. And they're right now leading the VNL. They're 7-0. They have 20 points. That's the most of any team. This is a Japanese team that could be dangerous moving on down the road. Like I've always been like, I thought last year at the World Championships they were so close to, who did they play in the quarters? France.
Yeah, they played a great
match. And in my opinion, they should have won that match, right? They were unlucky, but are we going to see Japan break into like a semifinal situation? Like I think
the question. It's been the question.
Right. And I think that this might be an event that they might be able to. They're playing really well right now. They really, really are. And especially when you see the depth that they have. I'm a little bit more questionable about their depth on the left side. Like, can they run Ishikawa and Ran as much as they are? Who knows? But this is a team that plays volleyball the right way, and they make it a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. And it's honestly just great volleyball. On the Brazil side of things, they're struggling a little bit. Like, they used everyone. Literally every single player got into this game on this one. I honestly thought Honorato was pretty good. Like, they didn't go to him too much. He was 11 for 21, 43% efficiency. He got 4 blocks and an ace for 16.
I like Honorato. I really like.
Yeah. I love the fact that we were talking like, what are you going to do? He's like, oh, we're going to go shopping. Like, he's just out here to have a good time. But he's a little bit undersized, but just plays volleyball the right way, plays good defense, passes pretty well. He's a fantastic all-around talent. But there's a lot of question marks right now for Brazil. And I don't really see, like, Arthur Buchmiuk is the only guy that they've kind of coming through that pipeline. Little Bergman, who was also on the junior team with him, I wasn't too impressed with last year when I saw it in Gatineau. So, like, are we starting to see, and I know this because I spoke to some of the Brazilian guys, like team staff, stuff like that. Like, there's a bit of an issue right now, I think, in development in Brazil, because it's not really happening, and they're not producing the athletes that they were 10, 20 years ago.
Right. I think that's absolutely that's a legitimate concern. We've heard that from lots of Brazilian people, and it's we'll see. I mean, we'll see if they can, how long they can hang on to this generation, the Lucas, the Bruno, even Lucarelli, like these guys. How long can they hang on before that lack of pipeline support starts to really catch up to Brazil? We'll see, but congratulations again to Japan. This is an amazing win. They have tomorrow off, and then they have Argentina, and that game will be really fun. So
I wish DeCheco was there for that game. Because DeCheco and Argentina, and like to me, when I look at it overall, I think like the 4 most skilled, just pure skilled world have to be Japan, Argentina, Italy, and France. And like, to walk Argentina, if they were both at their best to go toe to toe, that would be a massively fun game to watch.
I think it's still going to be a really fun game to watch. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. All right, last but not least of matches that have happened at the same time that Bulgaria and Canada was going on. I had this on in the background, didn't look at it much, but Serbia did beat Germany 3-1. Germany did kind of blow it in the 4th. They probably should have won that set. Couldn't quite get it done. Germany's offense, okay, not great. Weber was not very good. Anton Brema is the man, 13 for 16. I absolutely love him. He's been by far Germany's best player this VNL. But Serbia was better. They were able to get it done in 4. I don't really have that much to say about this match, to be honest. I was much more focused on Canada versus Bulgaria.
Yeah, I have not watched any. I did not watch a second of this match. I just opened up the stat sheet for the first time.
Miran Kujundžić, 12 for 15, 73%. That's spicy. Nice rebound for him after not being very good against the USA.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Drazen Luberic, not the greatest, 15 for 39, only 21% efficiency, no blocks and only 1 ace, but still Serbia, 4 guys in double digits. They're doing pretty well there. Also, I did see in the chat earlier that Antanasijevic got sick and they had to send him home.
Okay. That explains it.
Yeah. So then it's going to be the question is, do we see Dusan Pek, or do we? I don't even think Malianas is on the 30-man roster.
Well, they've got Luberic and they've got Božidar Vučićević as their second opposite this week, and I actually like him. I think he's pretty good. So that they have plenty of options on the right side behind Luberic, but he's their guy right now, and I think it's about time that we really see him take over that spot. I mean, there's not that much to say about this game. Germany isn't very good. They're very unclutch, just like you said. Very unclutch. And Serbia is maybe a fringe playoff team, maybe not, but I think they've got a bit of a ceiling on them as well. I think these 2 teams are kind of middle of the pack. There's not really much to talk about here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Serbia, and this result shows it, I think Serbia is better, than Germany, but you're
Yep.
right. I think both of these teams are kind of middle of the pack. And what's scary for, with I always kind of put the two Balkan teams in together, Serbia, Bulgaria. I know that's probably not fair, but I always like kind of lump them in the same because for a while they're both in that upper echelon of groups. Like you could have called Serbia one of the better teams in the world. They were a team that could compete with everyone else, and Bulgaria was able maybe in that group just below them when they had Sokolov and Kaczynski and all these other guys, but at least when you look at Bulgaria, they do have Nikolov, whereas like I think that prospects like Kujundžić and Peric aren't exactly at his level, but they do have some more of them. So it's going to be interesting to see how Serbia progresses over the next little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summary. All right, let's before we talk about what's going on the rest of the week, and before we get out of here, just in time for the Netherlands versus Poland, which will be a good one. Everett, tell the people about that volleyball.store.
Absolutely. Head over to that volleyball.store for all your 9x9 and spicy volleyball needs. If you use the code SPICY, you'll get 15% off. And I'm in the pipeline of working on some new things. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a designer to maybe make some three boomers in a trench coat gear, which is something that I think would be awesome. So yeah, if you want to support it, make sure to head over to that volleyball.store to check it out.
Also, my favorite thing in the Volleyball Source universe, it's a friendly reminder about Where's Daddy. Remember that Daddy Stankovic is always hidden somewhere in every one of our episodes. And if you find Daddy Stankovic and comment where he is as a timestamp in the main YouTube comments after the stream is over, if you're the first one to do that, you get a shout out on the following show. So on Monday's show, we were talking about the Italian roster. And we are aware that Daddy Stankovic over the last couple of years has gained Italian citizenship, and he doesn't count against the foreigner limit in Italy anymore. But what we didn't know is that he's actually suiting up for the Italian national team this week. He's wearing number 15 there. You can see Daddy Stankovic over Daniele Levia's head. So this is a good one. I was pretty proud of my black and white Photoshop job on that one. People found him pretty quickly. Our friend Kiro Neri was the first to find Daddy, followed quickly by our friend Devin and our friend Mark Fleury in the chat. So there have been a lot of people finding Daddy Stankovic and trying to be the first to comment where he is. So remember, maybe Daddy Stankovic has already shown up in this show. Maybe he hasn't shown up yet. I'm not going to tell you. You have to find Daddy Stankovic and comment where he is, and you'll get a shout out on the next show. Next show, by the way, will be Monday. Monday, we will react to the rest of Men's Week 2 and preview Women's Week 3.
Also, if you like what you're watching, just give us a nice little like. We've had upwards of 700 people tune into this episode, which is absolutely awesome. So big shout out to Born Hunt in the Discord, who was saying that only 12 people are going to show up. I'm about to mute you because you've been absolutely terrible, and multiple people have told me to do so recently. So I know you're probably not watching right now, but that you might be going on timeout pretty soon. But yeah, just give this a like. It absolutely helps us so much. If you give this video a like, it helps it gets it to more people, helps grow the Volleyball Source universe. There we go. I just saw one come in, and yeah, we'd appreciate it immensely.
All right. Rest of the week. Well, first of all, worth talking about today, the Netherlands versus Poland. First serve in like 5 minutes. The starting lineups are in. Poland is starting Jan Firle, Tomáš Fornal, and Artur Šalpuk at outside hitters. Urbanovic and Kochanowski in the middles, and Bowanj on the right. So I do like Fornal. He's going to be the guy today. The Netherlands, predictably, Kiemink setting, Namir, Jorna, and Ter Horst on the left, and then Plok and Wiltenberg in the middles.
I don't know why, and I mean, like, hey, me and Piotr are homies now, so he's no longer King Stooge. I just don't know why they continue going to Jorna. Right. And maybe this is just like they're trying out some different things, but it seems like Jorna was getting the start most of the time. And he was the one player who didn't really have a fantastic match. Like we saw Toenstra go off. We saw Martin van Garderen. And like, to me, Martin van Garderen should be their P1. He's maybe Thijs Ter Horst too. Like Ter Horst is fantastic. But then like Van Garderen is really good. He's really solid. He does as well. Toenstra is a great young talent. I don't know why they're wasting their time with Jorna. I really, really don't. Who did you say? Was it Namir or Termat on the right side?
Namir. Oh, or as my colleague Anne Marie Anderson was calling him the other day, Niemer. That was rough to listen to. Quickly, what's your pick? Netherlands versus Poland in Rotterdam, by the way.
Okay, so my head says Poland because just on like it's Poland, but I actually think I'm going to go with the Netherlands right now.
I'm also going with the Netherlands.
Poland's been struggling. They're failing to find any type of consistency. They're failing to find any type of flow. They're just going with another different lineup. You're going against the Dutch at home. Like that's not going to be easy. So I think the Dutch are going to take this one.
Yep, I've got the Netherlands 3-1. That's my pick. Also okay. Later today, Slovenia versus Cuba in about half an hour. What's your pick on that one?
I mean, once again, I think I have to go with Slovenia. But this one I think is going to be interesting because they're two teams that can bang really, really well, right? And they are both offensively powered teams. But I think Slovenia just executes so much better. And why I think it's too bad that Cuba and China don't play each other. I actually think that China would have a chance against Cuba because Cuba's just going to make so many errors and play themselves off the court. Right. That's the way I see that. And I think Slovenia is quite disciplined. I mean, we saw it yesterday against Canada. I think this might almost be a match where they play their bench, right? Where they have an opportunity because like if Cuba's being Cuba and out there, it's like, I know Ronnie's been in France, so he's been much quieter on the Discord.
Yeah, Ronnie's there at the games, which is cool.
So is Two Jacks. Randomly enough.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, which is cool. Yeah, I've actually got Cuba here. I've got Cuba. I think this is a Cuba figure it out game. I think this might be a Slovenia bench game, and we've seen a gigantic drop off in Slovenia's level when they go away from their starting 7. So I think this might be a Cuba figure it out game. I'm going to pick them to win it in 5. So we'll see. I think it is going to be fun though. We are running out of time because Poland and Netherlands starts in literally a minute. I think we should try and get out of here so people can watch that game quickly though. The rest of the week tomorrow, only 4 games instead of 6. The U.S. versus Iran and Bulgaria versus Argentina in the morning, and then Italy versus Serbia and France versus Cuba tomorrow afternoon. I mean,
honestly, I think
all decent games.
All decent games.
Yeah.
I think I'd expect Argentina to beat up on Bulgaria.
Yeah.
They're not actually, no, they are a pretty decent serving team, and I'm sure they're well coached, so they're just going to go after Nikolov. Nikolov's going to have a rough go. That Iran versus USA match is something that I'm really, really interested in.
Me too. That matchup makes me nervous. I mean, we're better than Iran, very obviously, but we always seem to lose to them. They always play us tough. We lost to them in VNL last year. I'm interested to see what we do with that, because also then we play, moving on to Saturday's games, we then play Poland first thing in the morning on Saturday. So we're going to have to do some lineup management there. And if we sleep on Iran a little too much, I have a feeling they can come up and bite us. So I'm curious to see that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm almost, and Rob, I love your Team USA. Someone was like sending the chat like, oh, I feel like Everett gets mad whenever USA wins. Like, no, unless they're beating us. I love when USA wins. Like Rob can attest to this. I'm a USA fan. I almost want to pick Iran for this one. Because there's especially early on in that China match that USA was looking a little bit sketchy. And I think that sometimes, you can just have a bad game. And I think this game means much more for Iran than it does for USA.
Yeah, that I agree with. I think there's a chance that we are probably looking a little too far ahead to Poland, and we might sleep on Iran a little bit. I do still think that we're going to get the win there. So Saturday,
I would almost expect to see maybe some bench players in there.
Yeah,
maybe that's a Cody Kessel game.
There'll definitely be one of them will be a Thomas Jeschke game, and I love him. It's good to see him back.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got Saturday a bunch of really good games on Saturday. Poland versus the United States, Japan versus Argentina. We already talked about that. It's going to be awesome. The Netherlands versus Iran. That is a good match. They played a 5-setter last year at the World Championship. Brazil versus Slovenia, I think, is low key a good match. China versus Germany, don't bother, completely forgettable. But then Canada versus France. I mean, France has looked a little bit vulnerable. I don't know if they're vulnerable enough for Canada to potentially get a win, but I expect the Canadian starters after a day off.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd expect to see the starters. I think this is one that if we can find our play early and find our rhythm early, which I don't really think we have all that much in this VNL. I think we've seen it at times, but not consistently. And if France is struggling the way they have been, this may be we could get lucky. And not lucky, like, but I do still think France is favored. And I also think it's going to be, who do they play against tomorrow?
So France has Cuba, followed by Canada, followed by Brazil. France has got 3 matches in 3 days, so there's a chance
Yeah,
that
so
they
yeah,
play the bench a little bit tomorrow.
that either tomorrow or against us, right? One of the two.
Oh yeah, sorry, Saturday I meant, yeah.
Right, and I would expect, like, I was going to say that, like, it's a bit of a revenge match and they'd want one back, but that's going to be against Cuba. So I don't know. But, like, ultimately, like, I think France is probably going to get it. Maybe we see some of our younger guys. Also, we didn't talk about Dutch and Serbia. I'm actually going to pitch the Dutch against Serbia tomorrow as well.
The Dutch do not play Serbia tomorrow. It's Serbia versus Italy tomorrow.
Sorry. That was Sunday.
Yeah, so Sunday, just last but not least, Italy versus Poland. That's always a banger, especially considering the wild card that Poland is right now. Bulgaria versus Cuba could have relegation implications. The Dutch versus Serbia, I think, is a pretty good game. And then Brazil versus France. Like, honestly, all 4 of those games on Sunday, pretty darn good.
Yeah, what time is that Eastern time? That's Serbia versus France one. I might have to Brazil versus France.
They're pretty early. Serbia versus the Dutch is at 10 a.m. Eastern. Brazil versus France is at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. But the 2 matches before that are really early, like 6:30 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Eastern for those first 2 games. Like, that's rough for us in North America.
It's really interesting to see that they're playing the only 2 matches on the weekends. You know,
on Friday and Sunday are the days that they're playing only 2 games in each site instead of 3. And then even still, they're playing these Sunday games so darn early. I don't really understand that.
Well, it's kind of the same thing as when we were in Canada, right? Like, that first game on the Sunday was at 11 a.m. And then, like, they didn't play the last one, or it was like 11:30 or something, and didn't play that last, like, the last match of the day, Canada versus Germany, started at 6 p.m.
Right. So that's it. That's it for the rest of the week. It's going to be great stuff. We'll be back on Monday to catch up with everything that happened men's week 2. Then we'll be back to preview women's week 3 as well on Monday. Looks like the Netherlands versus Poland is underway. So the Dutch lead 5-4 right now. So I'm going to go watch that match. It's going to be great. Make sure you join the Volleyball Source Discord. The link is in the description for that. That's the best online volleyball chat community in the world. Going to be a lot of people talking about all these games, and stay right here for Volleyball Source. We'll be back on Monday to talk a lot more VNL.
Yep. All right. Peace, guys. Make sure to go check out that volleyball.store. Make sure to like this video. Let us know where Daddy is. I don't even know where Daddy is. Rob's going to tell me right now. And yeah, Born Hunt, you're about to be put on timeout on the Discord because I'm sick of your shit. I absolutely really am. Like, just get over yourself. Seriously.
All right. That Everett about to lay down the law in the Discord. Enjoy the volleyball, guys. We'll be back on Monday. Thanks for watching.
Peace.